Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cat's Cottage. I'm sitting in my kitchen here having a great cup of coffee. I hope some of y'all are having your coffee or tea or with me. I'm sitting right here because someone asked me a question, so I'm going to answer it. This morning, what does that say? 6:30. I'm running a little late normally when I do my video because I lost my phone. And I finally found it. I got my husband's flip phone to look at it and see if I could call myself and it would ring and I could find it. But I couldn't figure out how to use his flip phone. But anyway, I got my flashlight, started going around. I actually went outside. That's what was concerning me, that it had maybe rained or an animal had gotten hold of it. It was outside. But I found it in my storage room, my office room. But anyway, I'm sitting here on my little kitchen stool. I guess I'll drop this down. I'm sure some of y'all have seen my kitchen stool. There we go. It's one of these really old and good shape. Somebody had put contact paper over it, and the contact paper actually has worn like it belongs there. I mean, it's worn so nice. They even patched a spot right there, and that just rubbed right into it. But anyway, I do not want to paint it because it's got so much character to it. But anyway, I'm sitting here. Somebody asked me a question about this. I believe this is what they really liked. Now, this bread box I don't use for bread. I use the one across over there on my toaster. I know y'all have seen that, but this I use for electrical stuff. You know, plugs and things for my phone and my husband's phone. They're all in here, and you can see I've got his plugged up. But this is what you asked me about right here. Yeah, here we go. These are ceramic. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Come on down. These are ceramic, nice and heavy. And isn't that the neatest looking deal on this big old picture? Got roosters all over it. Roosters and chickens. And it's that name on that is Mama San. Mama San? Mama San. But yeah, I have used it. When I saw it, I just, oh my God. Yeah, I used to have a yellow kitchen. If you look right here, yellow. Huh. But yellow and red look good together. I never intended to have it like a reddish kitchen anyway. Oh, that's my husband's phone. Um, and then this one I bought first. This is called Stonewall Kitchen. Whoops, we're getting in the dark. Stonewall Kitchen. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. But yeah, and this pad here, you didn't ask me about this pad, but I'm going to tell you about this. I'm not sure what it's full of. It feels, I don't know if it's sawdust or what it is, but this was made for me from my middle daughter. She gave me this, made this. And this is just the coolest little thing. It's a hot pad, where you can sit this on your nice table and stuff like that. And I keep it right there. It's pretty cool looking. She made it for me, when I told you I had that dining room, I had a buffet and all that. So she fixed that up for me. And but your question was about these that you really liked them. I don't know. Maybe the you might be able to find these maybe on the internet, you know, with a little spout thing there. Uh, this is actually the workhorse of my kitchen right here. This is what I use uh, constantly, and I have made some. You can tell I've made some grooves into that bowl. But what I like is this right here, and it also has pouring spout. But yeah, this is, and then this smaller one, and this is good too. I can mix down in here and it won't splatter out. But yeah, this is what I really use in this kitchen. Yeah, and I've kept my little yellow light. That came from IKEA. You know, they had those there, some different colors, and I was using yellow. But yeah, this is what you asked me about. And this here, actually, I didn't paint that on there or anything. I found that in the garbage, out in a pile of garbage. Uh, it wasn't dirty or anything. And most of everything I got out of there was handmade, and I'll say they were maybe Mennonites or Quakers because they had some of those dolls in there with no faces and stuff. I like that. And anyway, that was where I got that. And all I did was I actually just took a sanding block and I just sanded it, you know, smoothed it out all over. But no, it's not damaged anywhere. I don't. I think it was made, and maybe that person, you know, didn't like it, or maybe they made it and never did anything with it. Put my headband on, my hair's starting to get crazy. Um, but anyway, that's why I'm sitting here. You asked me about this, and I wanted to tell you. I don't know how to get them other than look for them on the internet. Um, but let's see. That was it. That's all you asked me for. And also I wanted to say, thank you for writing back all those old names of things. I enjoyed that. Um, my mama had a little tiny black pocketbook too. She kept her change in there, and she had some bills in there too. But I wanted to look in that so bad. I didn't want her money. I just want to look at it. I want to know how much money she had actually. I was curious how much money do you have? You know, um, money was a big thing growing up. I mean, a big thing. Um, I would go and cut grass. That's all I actually knew how to do. And neighbors, when we moved closer to neighbors, I'd cut the grass or rake their leaves. And I never spent the money. I always brought it home to my mama. Gosh, I'd cut a whole field of grass for $2.50. And that was a lot of money in that back then. And I always gave it to her. And I remember, this brings back a memory. I had uh, a girlfriend. Uh, she was Mexican, and me and her were good friends, but she jealous of me, I guess. I don't know. I fell in love with her brother. I thought, you know, how girls do, see a cute little boy. I fell in love with her brother. Oh, I just, you know, he was a doll. And anyway, I want to spend time with him, talking to him, not her. And maybe that's what made her mad. Of course, that made her mad. I remember one time we were going to cut this grass. I'm still talking about grass. I'm going to cut this grass, and we got $2 a piece. And she was pissing and moaning about it. You know, the lady handed us each $2. You know, we didn't take it and split it. The lady handed us $2 a piece. And she's carrying on how she didn't have enough money. That wasn't going what she wanted to buy and blah, blah, blah. So I gave her my money. I gave her the $2. And man, she took that, snatched that money like a monkey and ran off. No thank you, no nothing, and just ran with it. And it's okay. You know, she wants it for something special. Something's going to make her happy. When I went home and I told my mother, I said, I've cut grass all day. I don't have any money. I gave it to my friend. And she looked at me kind of odd, and I said, she wanted it. So, and then she said something like, well, don't do that anymore. You know, let her earn her money. Let her go cut another yard to earn her money. And my mother was right. I was wrong. Just, okay, here, you know. I think my mother might have been trying a little bit counting on me coming back with some money. That's how she'd send me to the store and I'd buy the loaves of white bread. Anyway, white bread or milk, something like that, you know. And I think it kind of disappointed her, but she didn't say that. She didn't say, you know, you should have kept it and brought it to me. She didn't never say that. So, but anyway, I remember another time. I can't even remember her name. I remember how she looks and everything about her, but I can't remember her name. Anyway, I don't have, my mind is not gone blank. I'm just got somebody walking around me. It's distracting me, okay? But anyway, her good-looking little brother came over, and he wasn't allowed in the house. He was outside in the yard. So we were in the bedroom talking, and I saw him out the window. So I'm going to go speak to, I can't remember his name either. Something simple. Anyway, I went out there. He was talking. We were talking. And I think we're in the same grade or something. Um, she might have been in a grade below me, but oh, he left. And so she came out of the house and she left, you know, sometime with him or something. Anyway, I went in my bedroom there and I shared my bedroom with my oldest sister. And oh my gosh, boy, was my mother mad about this. She had taken red lipstick, which wasn't mine, it was on the dresser, it was my oldest sister's. My mother had given it to her. She wasn't allowed to wear it either. She was 3 years older than me, but she couldn't, you know, you didn't wear makeup or anything like that to school. But she had taken that lipstick and covered my mirror in lipstick, covered my dresser, the big old one of those big old antique wood dressers. And she just rubbed on the walls. She rubbed that lipstick until there was no more lipstick. And that was just, you know, my mother was really, she's like, you got to clean this up. She's not allowed in this house anymore. And, but I hadn't thought about that at all. But yeah, things happen like that, don't they? But anyway, I enjoyed, and another thing I enjoyed, I think, who it was that wrote me about the turtle. Oh yeah, I used to call my trunk of my car the turtle for the longest time. I way up into the, you know, all the way my first marriage and all that. I called that trunk the turtle. Well, look at the turtle, you know, and you actually could kind of on those older cars, you could ride in those turtles. You know, they have that seat, and of course, my daddy would fly down the road, so we weren't allowed to ride in that. You know, I'd ask him, beg him, no, you got to get in. You got to get in the car. You know, uh, but yeah, I remember that. That's just. I just loved you writing that to me and me having that memory of calling the trunk of a car the turtle. And well, I guess because most of those cars back then were shaped like that, like a turtle back, and then you had the window, you know. So, but anyway, yeah, and the other things. Thank you. I remember the cashiers in those little stores all around the stores. I remember that. I think they did that in a couple of these bigger stores that opened up, you know, Pennies when they first opened, in Sears. They had little places in the store where you could pay. But, you know, those were always, usually they weren't there, or you had to wait a long time. So, but it never was again like those old five and dimes. You know. I can remember in Texas walking all the way down. I see, we lived in Seabrook, walking all the way down that gravel road, crossing a big highway to that grocery store that was over there. Go in there, and I could get 2 or 3 pieces of that banana candy for a penny. And oh my gosh, if you went in there with a nickel, you were a millionaire. I mean, here you come, you were a millionaire. And really, how I got the money is I found it. You know, my parents didn't give me allowance or anything. That didn't even exist. I was working and giving my parents money. They weren't working and giving me money. But yeah, if I found something, um, you know, some kind of money, that store was all I could think about. Love that store. And I can remember going in there and buying chocolate, you don't buy chocolate in a store like that, because you open it up and it's white. You know, it's old. But yeah, I bought that banana candy. That was my favorite. Um, and you know, you could cut it and share it or stretch it. You know, or how about that lollipop that all day long? The last name of that all day long. Hmm. Anyway, it was caramel. It was hard caramel. It was hard caramel. I'm being distracted again. It was hard caramel, and that's why it was called all day or all day long, and it was on the stick. And I love that thing too. You know, you could pull it out, make it real long, and it was stiffened. You know, but I was trying to think, and those other candies that were in this roll up pack, Nico, something like that, and of course they had the artificial money in little gold wrappers. You know. But yeah, if I went in there with a penny, if I found a penny, I was going for candy in there. But those were the good old days, weren't they? Anyhow, I'll go because I've got a distraction in the house here. Um, and I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good day. I'll probably make another, you know, little shorts and for a few things I'm doing. I went shopping to Hobby Lobby yesterday, and I'll show y'all what I bought. Didn't need, but bought. So it's nice to go. You go in thrift stores so much and carport sales so much, and then you every once in a while you want to go in a store where everything's new, you know. So, but I'll talk to y'all later, and y'all have a great day. Bye bye.